Hey everyone, this is MechWarrior and welcome back to my channel. In my previous Rifleman IIC video, I talked about a problem with the chassis CT hitbox. At the moment, we don't know yet whether PGI will shrink the CT, so I was withholding further opinion of this chassis until next month. However, there is one variant, the Rifleman IIC-4, where the hitbox doesn't matter as much. So how it performs today will be similar to how it'll do after any potential adjustment. The reason behind this is its focus on missiles, which means that you're spending much of your time supporting friendlies and avoiding return fire altogether. Since the Rifleman IIC is designed to be a fire support mech in canon, the lore nerds are going to be very happy with how the mech is built as well. Since it doesn't have enough hardpoints to build SRMs properly, your two realistic choices are LRMs or ATMs. In my opinion, ATMs are going to better utilize the Rifleman's jump jets and decent hardpoint locations, so I'm foregoing LRMs in my build. What do I really mean by this? Since ATMs have a low arc compared to LRMs, we need to have some way of shooting missiles over terrain that targets may be hiding behind. One of two popular ways is to use jump jets, essentially pop-tarting over cover and firing. Another way is to point your reticle upwards right before the missiles are shot, and quickly moving the reticle back into the red square to avoid losing your lock. The second method benefits from higher mounted missile hardpoints, since if the arc starts off from a position that's too low, even pointing missiles upwards may still cause some missiles to hit terrain. One advantage of the Rifleman IIC over other ATM boats is the amount of ATM launchers it can carry. A downside is the lack of lower arm actuators, which would have allowed you to target and lock onto mechs that are further left or right than the limit of your torso yaw. You'll soon wish you had those lower arm actuators if you're in a NASCAR and you have targets at your 8 o'clock, but you can't shoot them. With ATM boats, I recommend both a tag and active probe. The tag allows you to target ECM protected mechs, while the active probe disables one nearby ECM that might be preventing locks. For those who are relatively new to MWO, an enemy ECM prevents any locks if you're in the bubble, even if you're tagging another enemy, which is why you need both pieces of equipment together. You can fire ATMs without locks, but accuracy is going to suffer due to the low velocity of the missiles. Since ATMs are mostly mid to mid-short range weapons, the light tag has enough range for our intended engagements. And also because we're mainly using the AP for counter ECM, and the light AP and regular AP have the same counter ECM range, we're just gonna go use the light version for weight savings. For skills, I'm getting cooldown and heat gen nodes for DPS, as well as velocity and spread nodes for accuracy. I'm not spending much on survival because, as I said, you're trying not to get shot, and instead spend it on speed tweak, which is more of an offensive skill tree in this case, since it allows me to get to favorable firing positions faster. We go for about half the cool run nodes and get full target decay. Alright, let's check out a couple of matches. Let's take a look at this first match on Polar Highlands. Polar, as many people know, is a very missile-friendly map. Especially for ATM boats that have jump jets, the ridges are low enough for you to kind of jump over with only one or two jump jets. So you can clear those ridges fairly easily. And we see this king crab right in our 3 damage per missile range at 250 to 300. So with only a few salvos, we're able to take out its left torsos, and its left leg is almost gone as well. So we're just gonna, I think our team is trying to come over here and try to finish it off. I'm taking a little bit of damage, but not too much right now. I wanted to continue poking that corner, except for there's a UAV up top, and I just want to get away from it. So we're gonna shift to our left side and see if there's any targets over there. Our guys on the right are still getting LRM'd. We do want to, if you see piranhas at any range, just shoot it with missiles. Like, any damage to piranhas is going to help take it down, no matter how little it is. So our team is shifting over to the right once again. That mech is a little bit beyond our optimal range, so we're going to focus fire on the Banshee instead. Again, you want to choose mechs that are within the optimal range as much as you can. What I mean is in that 3 damage per missile range. See, that Banshee went from orange armor to dead in a single salvo. You can see how strong ATMs are, especially against targets that have large CTs, like the Banshee. And all that damage just gets concentrated in the center torso. So see us here just trying to arc over that ridge using the kind of the second method of pointing your reticle up. You can kind of see sometimes in these situations how the lower arm actuators can be really useful if I had them. Like just trying to get away from backing off from targets and trying to still keep my reticle on them at the same time. That would have been just easier with the lower arm actuators. Even if I'm not in a NASCAR situation, the lower arm actuators would have been really helpful. You know, even though we try to avoid taking damage, like there's certain times obviously where you can't, right? But if you play it correctly and if the team is not getting destroyed, you should be able to avoid damage mostly. I'm gonna die from this missile salvo here. Like, we can't eat that many ATMs in our condition without dying. So, but you can see we did pretty well. This match is on Frozen City Skirmish. Frozen City can be pretty good for ATMs. Even though there's a lot of cover, there's also a lot of gaps in between these buildings where, you know, if your target is kind of walking in between these gaps, then they're usually at the range where your missiles are doing at least 2 damage per missile. Now, if you go back a couple of seconds on that shot on the Annihilator, I was waiting for a lock to happen on the Annihilator, but in reality, probably I should just dumbfire because the Annihilator is really slow, and I would have been able to hit him with dumbfired missiles anyways. Although dumbfire doesn't concentrate missiles to the CT as much, it still would have been better than just missing. So this Rifleman comes out in peak, actually repeatedly against me, and as you can see, as I mentioned, the Rifleman has a huge CT, so he ate all those ATMs in the CT and just died so quickly. That was just not that good for him. The Annihilator is a little bit within our min range, so we need to back off. Yeah, that wasn't a good poke for that Rifleman. He should have seen it. He should have been like, oh, there was like 3 or 4 mechs there. I shouldn't poke that corner, but you know, that's what he did and pay the price. So we actually got a couple of hits on that. I wasn't optimistic about being able to hit anything, but we did get a couple of missile hits. Yeah, if you're not careful against ATM boats and you're within that 3 damage per missile range, you're just gonna get wrecked. Like this guy's about to just ate all those missiles in the CT. I think in this game you'll also see like how useful speed tweak is on this build. You just have to keep moving all the time and just reposition just constantly. and keeping up with the NASCAR and trying not to get left behind. And you can also like imagine if you were in my position how useful the the lower arm actuators would be in this case. I really wish I had them. This dragon's about to eat a bunch of missiles as well. But he's behind the building and we need to... Just trying to find another target to shoot at. Again, min-range, an issue. It's a pretty close game thus far. Can't do anything about that guy, so we need to shoot other targets. Battle Master again, having a big CT makes it very vulnerable to ATMs. Alright, just need to kill the last guy. Well, I do want to thank the viewer who donated this mech pack to me. Thanks for making this video and others possible, and allowing the community to learn about this chassis and this build. So yeah, we weren't able to do very much on this last guy. Anyways guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe for more content, including build videos like this and strategy guides. If you want to see my initial Rifleman IIC video, I'll link it in the description below, and I'll see you next time.